Life has a way of rewriting our plans. Just when we think we're comfortable, we've settled into like a comfortable rhythm, something changes. It could be a career taking an unexpected turn, a relationship shift. What about our health demands more attention? Anybody feel that lately? Or what about financial and family responsibilities? They reshape the future that we imagined. At mid-career, these moments can leave us just wondering whether we're moving forward or we're simply just trying to recover. Yet I've become convinced that setbacks aren't meant to just keep us stuck. They can become invitations to grow, to adapt, and to discover strengths that we didn't even know that we had. And that's the heart behind today's episode and really the message that I've been developing for my upcoming book, Move Beyond, released later this year. So together, let's explore how to move beyond life's inevitable setbacks with greater confidence, purpose, and hope for what's next. So stay tuned. Many talented mid-career professionals reach a point where they ask, what's next? They have experience, skills, and wisdom, but lack a clear roadmap for their next chapter. We provide the framework and guidance to help you get there. Check out our courses and offers. Now, let's dive into today's episode. Have you ever noticed that setbacks rarely send a calendar invitation? They just show up, just like the bear who recently wandered in our yard to eat all of my apples. He was not invited. Well, sometimes a setback is a relationship that changes unexpectedly. A trusted friend moves away. It's hard. A marriage goes through a difficult season, or it ends. An aging parent suddenly needs more care, and you're not even sure how to pay for it or how to make it happen. Adult children may move across the country and family dynamics shift. I mean, when we were raising our family, our parents and family and our grandparents were fairly close by, but today, we as parents, grandparents, we have to get on a plane and fly across the country to see some of our kids. It's different. Other setbacks include our health. We wake up one morning and we realize, well, our body just doesn't recover as quickly as it once did. And we discover that we need to exercise differently, eat differently. Oh, I hate that I used to eat whatever I wanted. Or maybe just slow down enough to take care of ourselves. Financial setbacks arrive too. A company restructures, investments fluctuate, inflation changes the cost of everyday living. Retirement looks different than we even imagined 20 years ago. Well, then there are the professional setbacks. Careers plateau. Industries change. Technology races ahead. Artificial intelligence transforms the workplace. Feeling it? Yes, probably so. Suddenly, we're finding ourselves facing multiple setbacks with confusion and mounting stress. But a setback doesn't have to become your identity. It can become your turning point. Every setback carries a lesson. Now, one of the greatest advantages of reaching mid-career, or what I often call the power of after stage of life, is that you're not starting from zero. You've accumulated decades of experience, relationships, wisdom, and resilience. And those assets are incredibly valuable. The challenge isn't that you have nothing to offer. The challenge is learning how to view your circumstances through a different lens. And that's where reframing becomes so powerful. One of my favorite reminders is that life is continually just teaching us. We're in this forever classroom. When we're younger, we often believe that success comes from just avoiding mistakes. We don't want to do anything wrong. But as we mature, we realize that many of our greatest lessons came from those disappointments, failures, and unexpected detours. I love hearing the stories of some of the startup businesses that they've gone through multiple failures, but through that, they've had those stepping stones to be extremely successful. Doesn't always work, but many times it does. The setback itself isn't always the problem. Our interpretation of it often is, especially if we tell ourselves, have you heard these before, maybe from yourself? Oh, I'm too old. I missed my opportunity. I lost my chance. I'm falling behind. Well, those thoughts can become self-fulfilling. Instead, what if we asked different questions like this? Hmm, what is this teaching me? Huh, that's actually a hard question sometimes to ask. Or what new opportunity is just right in front of me? What strengths have I developed because of this experience? Wow, that's a powerful one. Our questions determine our direction. Listen to that again. Our questions, many times the questions we ask ourselves, they determine our direction. So I'm going to briefly cover 5 principles that will help us ask those questions and to move beyond setbacks. Principle 1, separate the event from your identity. Now, it's easy to become just short-sighted. And if you're anything like me, you may become impatient with the process of learning some new technological tool or growing an area of business, or maybe finding yourself frustrated with projects that, they should have been done yesterday. I, I get impatient. But perspective is extremely important. One difficult year doesn't define our life, and one failed project or a project that takes longer than you expected, it doesn't define our career. And one financial challenge doesn't determine our future, at least most of the time. It's easy to confuse something that happened to us with who we are. I find countless professionals, they introduce themselves by their setback. It's almost like they want to wear their heart on their sleeve. I lost my job, or my business failed, or I went through a divorce, or my health is just not what it used to be. In fact, I have to check myself at times, especially when speaking about my body not doing what it used to do in fitness and stamina. It's just different than it was 20 years ago. And for every experience I've named, that's real for many of you who are listening or reading this. But they are chapters of our life, not the entire book. Today, try changing your self-talk, and instead of saying, I'm just a failure, instead say, I experienced a setback. Now, why does this work? One describes our identity. The other describes an event. And there's a tremendous difference, okay, between identity and an event. An event can be modified. Now, I've performed at many events, actually across the country, not only locally, but in many locations. Last minute changes, they're common. And many times those changes, it helps that event run much smoother. So it's helpful to be open to them. It's not our identity, it's just an event. So let's move along to our principle 2, focus, and this will help with those events. Focus on what you can control. One of the greatest drains on our emotional energy is spending time worrying about things we can't change. We can't change the economy. We can hope it gets better, but we just can't change it. We can't just snap our fingers, and we can't change our age. Wouldn't it be nice just to have that sort of ability? Or we can't change yesterday's decisions. You've probably felt that regret. I wish I didn't say that, or I wish I didn't do it that way. We can't control other people's actions. But what can we change? We can control our response. We can continue learning. We can improve our health. We can strengthen our relationships. We can develop new skills, and we can build better habits. Now, growth begins the moment that we shift our attention from what we've lost to what we can build. Now, that's a growth mindset, and it's empowering. I talk often about what psychologist Carol Dweck introduced in her book, great book, by the way. The link to it will be in the article that comes with this. In her book, Mindset. It's the concept of a growth mindset, the belief that abilities can continue developing through learning, practice, and persistence. And this is all the way through our life, even it doesn't matter how old we are. I love that idea because it reminds us that we're never finished growing. A growth mindset is contrasted with a fixed mindset that says, I can't do this. And a growth mindset says, I can do this. I can't do this yet. And I can do this. That tiny word that changes everything, that word yet. Now, I'm kind of reminded about this because I just heard that the physical fitness tests are going to come back to schools. And this is what all of us had to do growing up. We had to pass those physical fitness tests. And I remember I wasn't even able to do one pull-up, but I had to work so hard. I was able to climb the rope. I barely was able to do some of them, but I did them. I was able to pass. It was not easy. And when all of a sudden you have new requirements now for kids coming through, it's not going to be easy. But maybe you can't do this now, but you might want to change that. I can't do this yet. That's going to change even for those who are not at mid-career. It's going to be for those at any stage of life. So instead of asking whether you're capable, ask how you can become more capable. And here are 3 things to remember. Every new skill increases confidence, and every small improvement builds momentum. And progress creates hope. And hope keeps many people alive. If you've been at the side of anyone going through that last stage of life, hope keeps many people alive. And it's a great principle for all of us to remember. Principle 3, protect your health like an investment. Many of us spent the first half of our life building careers, and the second half reminds us how important it is to build our health, or rebuild our health, maybe. Our bodies usually remind us of this fact. Our energy level seems to change, and without energy, everything else just becomes more difficult. Our physical health influences our emotional health, which influences our relationships, which influences purpose, and ultimately, it influences our motivation. Let me talk about that again. The emotional health, it influences relationships and purpose and motivation. They all work together. Healthy habits become extremely important, and they don't have to be dramatic. Here are a few things that we can do. Maybe you do these already, and good for you. But let's reaffirm how important it is maybe to take a daily walk. Improve your sleep, either by going to bed earlier or other methods. What I found is my sleep improves when I don't drink a whole glass of water before I go to bed. Surprise, surprise. Don't have to get up as much. Eat more intentionally and even plan your meals. That's a biggie. It doesn't matter what age you're at, even if you're raising young kids, very important. Strength train a couple times each week. And yes, this includes some sort of weights. Spend time outdoors, take a walk, or develop a small garden. Laugh more and develop some new friendships. I mean, we don't need to take ourselves so seriously. And reduce unnecessary stress. Anxiety comes in all forms. So find a way to relieve that anxiety by maybe journaling. I journal quite a bit, just a sentence or 2. Or, hey, how about this one? Take a bath. You might laugh at that. I tell you what, it works. It's just relaxing. Or maybe you have a jacuzzi. Maybe you have some place that you can do that. Get in a pool. Your body is the vehicle carrying you into your next chapter, so take care of it. One of the greatest gifts that you can give yourself is intentionally surrounding yourself with people who are encouraging your growth. Find people or a program that will challenge you and inspire you and who celebrate your progress rather than all of your excuses. Healthy relationships provide perspective during difficult seasons, and being honest with our conversations are so important. There's nothing really to prove. Friendships remind us that we're not climbing this mountain all by ourselves. Principle 4. Boy, I'm hitting with you a lot of things with you today, but I'm going to review all of these main principles at the end. And there's an article that comes with this. So make sure you click into that. The links are in the show notes. Principle 4. Strengthen your financial confidence. Wow. Okay. This one might be a tough thing. People panic. Financial setbacks, they can feel deeply personal. Markets fluctuate. Unexpected expenses happen. And businesses experience slow seasons and prices fluctuate. So rather than responding with just fear, respond with wisdom. Review your spending and create a default budget. I've spoken about this in some of my books. And I brought my husband on with some of these podcasts and shows, and we've talked about this before. Make sure you look at maybe some of our past articles. And I talked about this beginning in my very first book, Stuck is Not a Four-Letter Word. And I also provide some free downloads, including that default budget worksheet in the goal-setting worksheets. Again, the link will be in the article. Simplify your life where possible. So this is where that default budget is so important, and it's simple. Continue investing in your learning and diversify your income when appropriate. There's nothing wrong with getting help from a trusted advisor as well. It's actually smart. Look for ways to create assets rather than just accumulating possessions. I think the possessions become less and less important to us as we do get a little older because we've seen how hard it is to get rid of them from even our parents. I mean, what do you do with all the stuff? And I've also spoken about assets like most cars and other toys that are depreciating in value. Evaluate those carefully. Financial confidence, it grows through consistent stewardship, not overnight success. There are so many books written on this. Small decisions repeated over time often produce remarkable results. So principle 5, here we are. I love this one, and listen very carefully. If you've tuned me out, tune back in, please. Build on your experience. One of the greatest myths of mid-career or halftime of life is believing that experience just loses value. And this mostly happens when we become so self-critical of our age and of all of our abilities. And actually, the opposite is true. Technology changes, tools change, and markets change, but wisdom and experience becomes increasingly more valuable. We are finding, now this will change through time, but we are finding that businesses continue to want humans because there are mistakes that come with AI. They need experience. They need people that know how to make those choices. Experience teaches judgment, develops discernment, improves communication, and strengthens leadership. Now, I've written about this quite a bit in my book, Power of After. Artificial intelligence can provide a lot of information, but it can't replace wisdom earned through decades of living. And you always have to check it. Always check your sources. I'll have a funny story for you coming up about one of the mistakes we found, because it does make mistakes. Your experiences have prepared you to solve problems that younger generations haven't yet encountered. So don't discount what you've learned. Build upon it. You don't have to solve everything today. You just need to keep moving. When hikers climb a mountain, they don't just stare at the summit. Oh, no, they focus on the next step and then another. And in my book, The Summit, the protagonist has to keep moving forward and overcoming obstacles to climb her hero mountain. And it takes that mindset of overcoming, of learning from those obstacles and not losing hope. And this develops confidence, momentum, and ultimately success. So perhaps today, your next step is making one phone call or scheduling a medical appointment, or it might be to update your resume or take an online course. How about reaching out to an old friend or writing one page in a journal or recording one podcast? How often have I heard this from others? Oh, I've wanted to start a podcast. Well, how long has it been? Oh, it's been a couple years now. A day turns into a month, turns into a year, turns into several years. Don't put it off. Every meaningful journey is built one intentional step at a time. So your best chapter may still be ahead. Now, I've become convinced that many people underestimate what they can accomplish after mid-career, not because life becomes easier, but because experience becomes richer. You understand people better, you know your strengths more clearly, and you care less about impressing others and more about making an impact. That's definitely been true of my life. Recognizing what truly matters is most important, and that's wisdom I pray for every single day. Every setback that we experience adds another layer to our story. Some chapters were painful and unexpected, and I don't want to forget those because really they make me more grateful for where I am today. And none of those setbacks need to be the final chapter. Instead, they can become part of the preparation for greater purpose, preparation for deeper influence, preparation for helping someone else navigate the very road you've already traveled. So wherever you find yourself today, whether you're facing challenges in your health, your finances, relationships, career, or just you're wondering, what's next for me? Remember this. You're not defined by your setbacks. You are defined how you respond to them. Keep learning, keep growing, keep serving, keep believing, and move beyond the setback with confidence because your experience, your resilience, and your purpose are still needed. Your next chapter may become your most meaningful as well as your most rewarding one yet. So let's review these 5 principles and then go back and review them again. 1, separate the event from your identity. 2, focus on what you can control. 3, protect your health like an investment. It is. 4, strengthen your financial confidence. And 5, build on your experience. Connect with me. This is also on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. You don't miss a single single show, single video, single podcast, or a single article. Make sure you're getting also our newsletters. All of the links are in the show notes. Thank you so much for joining me. And I look forward to being with you again next time. So bye-bye for now. Thanks so much for spending time with me today. I love bringing you insights to help you maximize your skills, resources, and experience at mid-career and beyond so that you can make your next chapter your most impactful and purposeful yet. I'm Debra Johnson, and I can't wait to be with you again next time on the Power of After show.